Hello and welcome to Passionate Inc.'s YouTube channel. My name is Ryan T. Osborne, writer of MM Romantic Suspense Thrillers and the member engagement director of Passionate Inc. I am here with author Ryley Banks, author of Heat Waves, who now currently, I believe, serves as vice president of Passionate Inc. And how are you doing today, Riley?
I'm doing fabulous, Ryan. Thanks for having me. And yes, I am the brand new, newly minted VP for Passionate Inc. as of January 1st.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell us, who are your favorite authors to read?
Oh my God. I think my Kindle is just packed full of people. But other than a lot of the PI authors who I definitely do check out, a lot of my go-tos and one-clicks are Kira Andrews, Kat Sebastian. I read a lot of male because I write LGBTQ romance too. So it kind of bleeds over in that. And if, I like to read what I write and write what I read. Um, Sarah Kate writes some super steamy stories. And then just from my childhood, I always loved Tamara Pierce's books and Tolkien. Just I love a good nerdy story.
Who doesn't? Um, so what hobbies do you have outside of your writing when you're not writing your steamy, sexy fiction?
Oh man, I tend to be in the kitchen. I love cooking. I love just experimenting with different meals, with different dishes. I think that's probably why food makes an appearance in my work a lot. I'm like, oh, what is this person going to be eating? Let's write this like three paragraph thing that I'm going to have to cut later about what their dinner was. Um, but like, then I end up hungry, and then I am going to make something. But I love like experimenting with stuff like that because I think it tickles a part of my brain that um, part of that creative section of your mind that writing doesn't always get. So it's nice to be able to um, make something in a short amount of time, as we all know that writing is a labor of love. So it's really nice to
Mhm.
put brownies in the oven and get them 30 minutes later, as opposed to, weeks or months sometimes with your actual work.
Any other hobbies you want to tell us about?
I think the obvious one would be reading, like just
Reading?
tons of. I love reading books. I love reading fan fiction. I love just reading whatever I can get my hands on as far as that stuff goes. I love a good romance. I love a good mystery. Um, it's just yeah, just give it all to me. Give it all to me right now.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I love a good romance and a good mystery, and if you can mix them together, even better.
Mhm, for sure.
All right. What made you decide to write in the genre of MM or LGBT?
Um, well, I guess I write LGBT romance because I enjoy reading them, like I said before. Like I've, you get an idea for a story, you think, oh well, I haven't really read this before, and then it grows into a full-grown plot bunny before you know it, and then you're sitting in front of a blank Word document typing away.
Mhm.
Um, so that's my main thing is I really like reading what I write, and being able to contribute to the positive representation, especially for bi folks. Sometimes there's some biphobia that can leak in depending on the author, and that's something I'm trying to just make some more positive representation for.
Well, on behalf of the LGBTQ community, I say thank you.
Well, as a member of that community too, you're very welcome.
One of the things, just off the top of my head, I was curious about this. One of the things that I noticed is, what was that, before 2010 or 2015, LGBTQ didn't really get happily ever after at the end of their stories.
Yeah, there was a lot of I know you're aware of this, but the kill your gays trope, and they just did not get a happily ever after, or they got their hearts broken, or it was unrequited love, and um, I was happy to see that kind of changing around that time period too.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I started writing was because I got sick and tired of it.
Yep, exactly. Write what you want to see. You're like, no, I want some happy endings. I'm gonna write them.
Hmm.
Yep.
Uh,
Same.
tell tell us about your favorite TV shows or movies.
Oh, I love a lot of different stuff. My interests are all over the place for movies and TV shows. Some of my favorites are I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We just finished Arcane League of Legends on Netflix over the holidays, and that is like that completely that show just lives rent free in my head right now. I'm
Mhm.
like consuming all sorts of fan fiction about it because I'm just like, no, I'm not ready to leave these characters behind yet. And there's at least one LGBTQ couple in that show that gets a that this very represent has a ton of representation and is there's no queer baiting as far as that goes. So that was also very nice to see.
What was that show called again?
Arcane League of Legends, and
Arcane League
it's
of
based on a
Legends.
video game, but you don't need to know anything about it because I certainly didn't when I started watching the show. But I still don't actually. I've never played it. My husband's never played it. I've never played it. Just enjoy the show for what it is, and it only ran for 2 seasons. It's beautiful. That's something I definitely appreciate is like a good, well-made um, piece of media that's just really nice to look at and just checks all the boxes, and that one definitely did. But I have a big soft spot for like, you know, campy sci-fi or fantasy movies too, like the Marvel movies or Pacific Rim and all that stuff where I'm just like, yeah, robots and aliens, let's go. Like
That's
I'm sitting,
awesome.
I just love that kind of stuff.
Um, do you have a persona online or are you yourself online?
It's kind of a combination. Most of the time, if I'm presenting myself as Riley, which I kind of am now, it's sort of a weird in between because of the interview, but Riley's more extroverted than I am. So she's exhausting to me a little bit. She's pretty much just me, just with more um, energy, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I don't have a lot of energy sometimes in real life sometimes, but you channel that and you're like, okay, you put the hat on and you can kind of I don't want to say be the character because to me she's not a character. Um, but it is nice to have that little separation a little bit. I enjoy that aspect of it because then, when I'm done being Riley at a signing or whatnot, I can just kind of just put my sweatpants on and go back to just being regular old me.
Mm, it is a little exhausting sometimes. I get that.
Yeah, no, it's I love going to conferences and things, so I'm not quite introverted enough to not like appreciate that or not be able to function during those kinds of things, but I do need to sleep for a week or something after I get home. I'm
Mm,
like, oh, hat comes off, bathrobe goes on. That's
recharge the batteries.
yes, exactly.
Okay. If you could have a beverage with your favorite author, who would it be and why?
I'm gonna take the easy way out on that one and say I do that frequently with the Passionate Ink happy hours, and my my usual beverage of choices at that time of day is usually some kind of delicious water, although occasionally a glass of wine, something like that if it's early enough. But and then when I hang with my critique group, we're all within a couple of hours of each other. We do share a drink and maybe more like a bottle, but it's
Mhm.
we do share um a good time with each other, so it's some of my favorite people.
Okay. Okay. Who would you say is your biggest cheerleader?
Definitely my husband and my parents. I My husband loves that I'm pursuing my dreams of publishing and writing, and when I work on my editing business as well. And my mom reads all of my books, even though I couldn't persuade her not to, because I was like, well, there goes, all eye contact at every family gathering from now on. But she is always happy to tell me how much she likes them and to congratulate me on release days and things. And I think that that's just the sweetest thing. So, um, it's really nice having that support. I'm really grateful for it.
Awesome. How did you get into writing in the first place?
Um, it's more like writing got into me. I I'm an only child. I've been making up stories and just imaginary everything forever. And I've been writing since I was in elementary school. Nothing terribly complicated, of course, but it was, make up different worlds, make up friends, all sorts of stuff that kids do. And I've always been a reader. I was read to since I was very young. My mom worked in the library. So she was very big on books too. Um, but I stopped writing mostly in college just because time constraints and all of that. And even for, I don't know, a good chunk of years after that, it didn't really happen. And it was actually Twilight that got me into writing again. Um, my husband was deployed and I got bored. So I was like, I'm just gonna binge this series of delightfully silly and enjoyable YA books. So at that point, the only the first three were out, and I read them and was instantly kind of like, oh no, this is a thing now in my head and it's just gonna live there. And now I had to write fan fiction for it. And I just started reading fan fiction for it too. So um it really got me back into something I really enjoyed doing, and I can't imagine not doing it now. After a few years of doing that, then with the release of Breaking Dawn and stuff like that too, I finally got into writing my own original work. So I think of I'm a big proponent of fan fiction because of all of that. I think it's like to me it was like writing with training wheels. I was able to kind of play in someone else's sandbox and kind of get my feet under me, see what makes a good story, see what readers actually liked, get some feedback because it wasn't all OMG, write more, although there was definitely that. But people are happy to read your work and beta read it and edit it for you, and you do the same thing for them. It's a lot like the regular original writing communities, and I'm really excited that I had that experience, and I recommend it to everybody if you can.
Tell me, what's your home life like? Because, like, we get to know you as the writer and you as the quote unquote businesswoman, but we never get to know what's your personal home life like.
Um, I have to say it's kind of unremarkable. I wish I had a glamorous, please fetch me a martini, type of a type of a life. But when I'm not writing or doing my editing business or PI tasks, I'm getting my oil changed and making grocery lists and heading to Costco because I like the samples. But it's just pretty much what regular folks do. I'm happy to have my husband and my cats, and they keep me very busy under regular circumstances.
And last but not least, what is one thing you feel people need to know about your author brand?
When folks read a Riley Banks book, um, I think the important thing to know is that you're going to get a fun experience. You're going to get, nothing that's going to change the world, and that's okay with me. I really enjoy writing fun, enjoyable stories that that are going to make the reader smile and enjoy their time with them, and hopefully be worth a reread or a signed paperback at some point, so folks can have a keepsake. But you know I try to bring some magic to the mundane. Like just a regular folks. When I'm not writing fantasy romance, I do have tentacles in one, so I'm not gonna I'm gonna say like, oh yeah, my everyday life features that. But no, if you've got like a date night with your significant other, or and that date night turns out to be super spicy because you shared fantasies with each other. Like there you go, eggplant night. Stories like that. It kind of makes it's a nice spin on just everyday things that happen to people. And I really tried to bring that into the stories, like trying to put a nice sexy spin on these just everyday occurrences. Like my story, Third Time's the Charm. These are Big Bad Book of Bedtime stories. But the main character goes to a weekly yoga class and gets flirted with there. So, things progress from that point. But, it's just something that they do in their everyday life, and it just turns extraordinary.
And that is definitely true. One of my favorite stories by you was in the Falling Heart anthology, Hard Cider Crush. I,
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved how you spun that story.
Thank you. Yeah, that one and the Ovis for Ornament, which was in the Holiday Shorts anthology. Those both
Mhm.
I have plans for. So I'm excited to get those and hopefully a couple more books in a very limited series out and into the world. So I'm excited for other people to read them. I just need to polish it up a little bit more. But that's one of my favorites too. I have such a soft spot for like New England and in the fall. And I was when I was writing that, I was like, oh, I want to just include everything in here, the county fairs and the apples and the leaves and just everything that you think of when you think of like fall in Vermont. So
And you did an amazing job, if you ask me.
thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Is there anything else you would like to tell us before we go for the day?
Um, I can't think of anything right now. I'm really happy to be able to do this and I love being a part of Passionate Inc. and this fantastic organization. And if anybody's on the fence about um joining or checking us out. Like it's some great people. I hope I've been a member since I was trying to do the math on it and I couldn't remember whether it was 2010 or 2011. But yeah, I wouldn't have continued being a member in the organization if I wasn't getting something out of it. So I highly recommend it to writers of all genres and subgenres and it's nice to be a part of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Riley. It's been a pleasure getting to speak with you. I hope you come back next month for my next interview, and y'all have a good night.